Sergeants, please call the members. Have them report to the council chambers. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers so that we can begin our work for today. Thank you. I want to thank Mr. Harris Dawson and O'Farrell for being today's members of the On Time Caucus. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers. Ms. Martinez has arrived. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers. Mr. Rue has arrived. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers. Mr. Bloomingfield has arrived. Sergeants, call the members, have them report to the council chambers so that we can begin our work for today. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers.
close them because, yeah, they will dry out.
Mr. Bonin and Mr. Englander have arrived. Mr. Koretz has arrived. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Friday, February 12th. I'd like to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Public is welcome. Madam Clerk, we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Harris Dawson moves, Blumenfield seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Martinez moves, Rue seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, there are requests to continue 1Y and 1AD for 2 weeks to February 26th, and requests to continue 1C, 1V, and 1W for 30 days to March 15th, 2016. Further, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that the following items be received and filed. Items 1B, L, M, N, P, and Q, as the liens have been paid in full. Items 1A and X, as the liens were rescinded by the Department. Additionally, the Department recommends that lien amounts be reduced on Item 1AG to $547.93 and on Item 1H to $2,417.82.
Okay, so without objection, that will be the order. Do we have cards?
Item 1 is an item notice for public hearing, and yes, there are cards.
Okay, then let's move on.
Items 2 and 3 are items for which public hearings have been held. The Transportation Committee report for Item 2 has been submitted and circulated for council consideration.
Okay, members, any specials? Mr. Blumenfield.
I wanted to ask if we could
Wait a minute, Mr. Blumenfield. Shh. Yes, the floor is yours.
if we could reconsider item 1Y from Wednesday's meeting. It's a lien issue. I wanted to reconsider that and then ask that we continue it for 2 weeks. constituent has contacted us, and we want to try to help.
Why don't we just do that now? Can we do that? Let's vote on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
Twelve ayes.
Thank you. And you want to continue it to when?
For 2 weeks, please.
So that would February 26th?
Sounds good.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's continue.
Thank you.
So let's vote on items, or do 2 and 3. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to the next section. Hold on one second, Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 3, urgent forthwith. It's the naming of the square in Watts. We're going to do it this afternoon.
Okay, well, let's
you,
vote
sir.
on urgent forthwith. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino, you got your wish. Let's move on to the next set of items.
Those are items 4 through 17, and those items, public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, there are cards on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 16, and 17.
Okay, let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Cedillo, you're looking pretty sharp over there. That brings us where, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations or items called special.
Okay. So before we begin our presentation, we'll take up a few items here. Okay, we're going to take up item 8, called special by Mr. Gus. Item 8. Here. I can't access. Sergeants, can you open up the aisle so our public speakers can get to the podium?
Okay, 1 minute only, please. 1 minute only. So we're talking about office space for a neighborhood council. And it's 1801 Avenue of the Stars? Are you kidding me? Is this the most affordable office space you can find in the city? 1801 Avenue of the Stars? Who's sleeping with one of you guys up here? That a neighborhood council gets to go on Avenue of the Stars in Century City for neighborhood council office space? That's completely reckless. It's irresponsible spending. That's why I think all of you are poverty pimps. You need to be more efficient with our money. Somebody, Mr. Koretz, you're a paragon of honesty and integrity.
Let's stay on the item.
I am. I'm asking the maker of the motion to explain why this is an affordable outlet for a neighborhood council. This is a squandering of our money. And, of course, it's seconded by Mr. Wesson, who is a poverty pimp, too. 1 minute.
You're off the subject. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, we'll move to item 16. Mr. Previn, we're on item 16.
Thank you, Council President Wesson. I will just take 60 seconds, so do not let me slip into the extra round, Mr. City Clerk. This is a great thank you for Mr. Rue, Koretz, and O'Farrell regarding the Run to Remember LA. We're going to basically be rolling out, and there's a lot of running going on. We got the Olympic trials coming. I want you to know that the county also identified their effort to get some people engaging in the running and the marathoning. This is a great business, and I would like to set up the possibility for the great Sachi Humai, who's the executive officer over at the former executive officer, current CEO, to run against Miguel Santana, the man who you know to be the great CAO here, and we will just simply see who can pull off a better time. And with that, I would like to say thank you for this one, because this is an example of the city pulling together for us to make it possible to run, and run to remember as well. And if this is about freezing for a reason, like the guys at the LASD are doing soon, I also appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 7, I have Mr. Hunt, Mr. Previn, Mr. Spindler, and Mr. Gus. Item 7.
Again, I will simply take 1 minute, sir, on this one. This is, I believe it's Miss Mitchell Englander or somebody making a motion to get the SoCal gas people to explain the highly unorthodox billing practices that have just come forward. This is a scandal, unfortunately. I personally received, and I will disclose it at the appropriate time, a bill for $523 for my gas bill. Now, I am a guy who ordinarily is in the excellent category and spends under 100, sir. So something is fakakta. They've got a glitch in the software, and so the public should be reassured that Mitchell England, do not pay your bill if it's big and scary at this time. I'm sure he'll make that clear, or someone will. They will straighten it out, because this is beyond the pale. And the good news is, and obviously everybody is excited to say, that they have finally capped the leak in Aliso Canyon, and order can be restored, property values will resume, and Mr. Assessor does not need to do any extra work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
I'll only be taking a minute on this issue right here. I want to vote no on the gas, lower the gas bills for everybody in the United States. Gas should be free at this point, especially when you're heating up your homes. Vote no on this issue. The Red Chief Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler.
They're gassing people, and now they're overcharging for the gas. This is like gassing someone and charging them more money to gas you. They are gassing and killing people, and now they are overcharging all of us for the bill. Why? Because Edison, they are gassers of humans and dogs. And that's why we got to stop this increase in these bills. Now, at a community meeting in Chatsworth, Councilman Englander showed his bill was so high the bank wouldn't pay it. All of us, stop paying your gas bills if you're a Sempra customer. I have, and they won't shut my gas off because they know I wear a hood. And like Todd Rubenstein of Encino, I'll fucking escalate it if there's any more bullshit from the gas.
Thank you, Mr. Gus.
1 minute only, please. 1 minute. I'm actually going to pay a compliment to Mr. Englander, even though he's been unfair to me lately. This is exactly what City Council should be doing. Stand up. That's how you know I'm a fair guy, because even though my arch nemesis is proposing this, I'm paying Mr. Englander a compliment, as well as Mr. Bonin. This is exactly what you should be doing, not squandering on the NFL or the Olympics, standing up for us when we're being taken advantage of. My only hope is that you treat the DWP with the same rigorous review as you are the gas company. And I'm actually so happy with this, I'm going to give you back your last 27 seconds, but Herb Wesson is a poverty pimp.
You are off the subject, and I'm not going to call you for the next one. I'm going to take a minute from you, Mr. Gus. You know that you got off the subject, so I won't call you the next time, or we'll reduce your time by 1 minute. Okay, Mr. Englander.
Colleagues, I've gotten scores of gas bills from people, stacks of them, emails, phone calls, not just from my district, not just from the city of Los Angeles, Palmdale, Lancaster, Riverside, San Bernardino. People are reporting their bills are in excess of $500, where they're normally a fraction of that. This woman that lives in an apartment just sent me her bill. It's dated February 11, 2016. It was for $167.88 in an apartment. Last year, exact same day, February 11, 2015, it was $14.35 in 1 year. With that, the gas company is suggesting that it's been a cold winter, and maybe it has. But the fact remains that we're not exactly sure why the bills are what they are. We do know, certainly, that we've had this major gas leak in my district for the last 111 days, when it looks like finally yesterday they were able to take some control over that situation and seal the well. And the residents there are looking very forward to getting their lives back in order and moving back home. We also know the gas company recently installed new technology, smart meters, and we're not sure that they've been calibrated or who's checked them. We also know from experience that when the Department of Water and Power updated their equipment, their billing software, it resulted and netted into a lawsuit costing $44 million in refunds because of errors. All we're doing in this case is, by supporting this, is asking and simply asking the Public Utilities Commission to investigate the billing spiking and what's happening to make sure it's accurate. It's suspicious. A lot of people are concerned, and they're coming out of the woodwork. They can't afford it. They want to know why. In fact, and a lot of people can say that it has been cold, but this makes no sense. We've had nearly 15,000 people relocated out of Porter Ranch. Those vacant homes, people that are not living there, have seen their gas bills double and triple. When they're not home, they're not there. So something's not right. We're asking the PUC to add this to their long laundry list of investigations and make sure that, in fact, if there are any issues, they can look at that. It's under that regulatory framework. That's what they do. And so we want that to make sure that's done immediately, and that affects and impacts all of us in this region. I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just rising to support Mr. Englander on this. I was happy to second this motion. I, too, have been getting complaints, concerns, queries from all throughout my district for the past several weeks as folks have been getting their gas bills, and all the ones I've seen are significantly higher than what folks are used to, even during the winter weather. Everybody's used to having a higher gas bill during this time of year, but these have been causing a lot of alarm and a lot of confusion. And I think Mr. Englander made a good point when he made the comparison with the DWP system. I mean, we saw when they converted over, there were lots of errors, and they've had to do significant refunds, and I think it's worth investigating by the CPUC whether or not the same thing is happening here, because it does seem to have happened just as their new system got rolled out. I also want to take the occasion to thank Mr. Englander as someone who has a gas storage facility in his district. I just want to thank him for his leadership on the range of issues that he's been facing in his district over the past couple of months, because the vigilance that he's brought to his own district is one that benefits the rest of the city for those of us who have these facilities. So thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay.
And, Mr. President, I would request if we could please send this forthwith.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Mr. Cedillo, would you be ready? Then the floor is yours.
Everybody, come on. Not yet? Yes, I know. Thanks so much for Sure.
give them another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you all so very much. What a way to start our morning.
Mr. President, Gung Hai Fa Chao, Happy New Year. Let's get the monkey business on the road here. Let's begin by thanking these young men and women who were part of the East Wind Youth Foundation. They are an incredible youth group in my community. They do a great job, not just preserving their cultural heritage, but they do a great job in providing a rich appreciation for their own culture and using that as a strategy and a vehicle against at-risk youth and making sure that young men and women, young boys and girls growing up in Chinatown and throughout the entire community, 1.5 million new Chinese in Southern California, that they have a great sense of pride of their cultural heritage and use that as a strategy to avoid the challenges that young men and women face in our city and in our county. So let's begin by thanking East Wind Youth Foundation one more time. As I implied, we begin the celebration of the Chinese Lunar New Year, the Year of the Monkey. And the monkey is the 9th of the 12-year cycle of animals which appear in the Chinese zodiac related to the Chinese calendar. The monkey is a clever and smart animal, and it is compared to some of the most smartest and mischievous people in our community. As a representative of Chinatown, it's my pleasure to continue to move this annual tradition through City Hall. This city has a long history of recognizing Chinese New Year's here in these chambers. There's an incredible proximity to Chinatown right down the street. It is one of our tourist destinations. It is something that I know that as we travel around the world, in our most recent trip with the mayor to Chinatown, it was something that was signature in our presentation of the city of Los Angeles, that we have this great Chinatown. It's a place where people can come and return and get a sense of community. So today we celebrate that new year with several important dignitaries, and I want to bring up from the Consul General's office, or from the consulate rather. Where are my flowers here? Oh no, wait, we have flowers. So this is for Consul Ren Zifang. Is this you?
I didn't expect it. I feel so honored, and I think all the Chinese community feels so honored to have such a wonderful representative in the City Hall. And I know that Los Angeles has become one of the most important cities in the United States to attract Chinese tourists, students, and investment. And I hope in the future that Los Angeles and China will enjoy a better relationship, a brighter future in this Year of Monkey. Thank you.
Okay, we're having a disruption in the back, Mr. Spindler. Please don't do that. You've been warned. Go on, Mr. Cedillo.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me acknowledge some dignitaries who are here with us today. I want to acknowledge, and you know him well through his career, as we say in the county family, the County Assessor Jeffrey Prang is with us. Mr. Prang.
Jeffrey, a round of...
Thank you. And let me also acknowledge, we both had the honor of serving with her in the legislature, former state senator and distinguished photographer, also a VP at USC, Senator Martha Escutia.
Welcome.
Mr. President, I don't know if you know now, but she's a very distinguished photographer, and many of her photos are published, including in the Los Angeles Times and other journals and artistic magazines throughout the country. So, and then let me bring up a good friend of mine, someone I really enjoy spending time with. He's just a pillar of Chinatown and the Chinese American community. I want to bring up from the Chinese Chamber of Commerce celebrating the 117th annual Golden Dragon Parade. Chester Chong, please join us. Where are you? Chester.
Thank you. I appreciate the honor to be here today. Thank you so much on behalf of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, every one of you, and give us a good opportunity to meet everyone. And I would like to say, Gong Hei Fa Choi for everyone, and healthy for the Monkey of the Year. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Good day.
At least in the middle.
No. We'll go more in the back.
Thank you.
And then finally, we have Ms. 2016 Miss Chinatown Court, headed by Miss Los Angeles Chinatown Queen and Miss Photogenic Lee Kwong.
Thank you so much for having us here today. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the show. And as a representative of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and the Los Angeles Chinatown community, we hope to wish you a happy Chinese New Year and hope this is going to be an amazing year for all of you in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, colleagues, this concludes our presentation. But I want
Mr.
all
Cedillo.
of you to join us for lunch. But before we do that, Mr. President.
Mr. Cedillo, before we close this out, we have a couple of members that would like to say a few words. I'd like to call on Mr. Paul Koretz first. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wan Ying Ni Man. Xinya Kuai La. So we welcome you here. The Chinese community has been intertwined with Los Angeles for many, many decades. We are now even more entwined with China with the tremendous amount of trade, etc. I myself was born in the year of the sheep, so I'm not sheepish in welcoming you here. And for those who don't know, I believe the source of the Chinese calendar was supposedly that Buddha invited animals to a celebration on New Year's, and 12 of them showed up, and so those are the 12 that are associated with the Chinese New Year. So I welcome you here, and we have a great relationship with the Chinese community. You especially have a terrific council member representing much of the Chinese community, and we love having you here. So thank you for being here.
Awesome.
Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to join in the celebration, and thank you, Councilmember Cedillo, for bringing this festivities today. And also, my staff always bugs me about eating salad, so thank you. And this is the year of the monkey, which is the 9th sign, but like Councilmember Koretz, I am the year of the rabbit, which happens to be the 4th sign. And who is the luckiest, gentle, and the friendliest? But, I want to also acknowledge that this is not just Chinese New Year, but it's Lunar New Year. And it's all the Asian cultures celebrate together based on the Chinese Lunar New Year calendar. In Korean, we call it Seollal. In Japanese, it's Shogatsu. In Mongolian, it's Shaagansar. In Tibet, it's Losar. In Vietnamese, Tet Festival. And of course, the Burmese, Cambodian, Lao, Nepali, Thai, Bengali, Indian, Kashmiri, and many other East Asian, Southeast Asian, and South Asian cultures all join and celebrate Lunar New Year. So, in the Korean culture, we say "새해 복 많이 받으세요," which is Happy New Year and may your year be prosperous. So, thank you, Councilmember Cedillo, for sharing this, and I join in the celebration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Floor is yours, Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, before we close, I want to bring up from the city family our city controller, Ron Galpin.
Mr. Galpin, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Cedillo. I have to say, I am so jealous of your shirt today. It is fantastic. It's so wonderful here to be celebrating the Year of the Monkey. And of course, as was mentioned, in addition to our celebrations here, there are celebrations of people from China, from Japan, Korea, Tibet, Vietnam, many other countries. And how appropriate it is that we do it here in Los Angeles, this gateway to Asia, and with such a great population and such a great community of Asians in our city. By the way, I'm very proud in my own office of our diversity. Actually, about 60% of the employees of the Controller's Office are of Asian descent, and about 27% of those are of East Asian descent. It's actually the year of the fire monkey. And, of course, there is each year a different animal in tradition, but there's also 5 elements: water, wood, earth, metal, and this year, of course, is fire. So here's what the fortune tellers tell us is going to happen this year. In Chinese tradition, people who are born of this year are, as you mentioned, ambitious and adventurous, but also a little bit irritable and incredibly resourceful. And it's said that this year is going to be destined to be a year of reinvention in lots of ways, a very energetic one, an auspicious one. And with the challenges that we face in the city and throughout the world, it's my hope that that prediction comes true. And of course, we have the ability to help make it come true. Now, note that the fortune tellers do caution us about the following. Monkey personalities have short attention spans. But when they focus and when they decide that they really want to do something, they see it through to the end. So together, let us indeed make this a year of invention. This may be my one chance to say, let's channel our inner monkey. And a year of resourcefulness, a year of energy, a year of focus, and one that we will be able to bring good fortune to all the people of Los Angeles. What an honor it is to be here. Thank you so much to Councilmember Cedillo and to all of you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Finally, Mr. President, as you know, for the Chinese culture and for so many more, it's all about the food. And so I want to welcome each and every one of you to join us. We have a reception and a brief luncheon outside the chambers. You're all invited. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year. Gong Hai Fai Chao.
Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Let us, we'll move to item 4. Mr. Spindler, Mr. Hunt, and I think it's Mr. Walsh. Please come forward. Mr. Walsh, you can go first.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or blogging at J. Walsh Confidential or tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Again, this is REAP, and what we have here are bad landlords who allowed their property and their units to fall apart. But the city stepped in once the renter complained, and now everything is back to normal. This, again, when you do a very good job, I am the first to thank you. And when you do a terrible job, I am before the first to tell you what a crappy job you're doing up here.
Okay, if I could add the next was Mr. Hunt, Mr. Spindler. If you wish to speak, please come forward. Okay, Mr. Hunt. All right, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
We'll move to item 5. Mr. Spindler, we're on item 5. Mr. Walsh, 5. Mr. Hunt, item 5. Please come forward.
Yes, we're leasing office space in downtown Los Angeles. For whom? The Downtown Los Angeles Area Neighborhood Council. We don't have other places to put these people. We have city properties valued over $1.8 billion on the market that we can't sell and lease. So why are we leasing space when the city has hundreds of thousands of vacant square feet of space to give to this neighborhood council? The answer? Graft and stupidity. And that's why you must vote no on item 5. Do what the neighborhood councils and Todd Rubenstein suggest. Use city resources first and save the money.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is for office space downtown. Each neighborhood council rents office space. The difference in the rentals is sky high. If you're down in the hood, the rental space is practically nothing. I'm told that this rental space, you won't mention how much money here. You mentioned on other agenda items how much money. But I'm told that you're renting this property from, what is it, Spring Arts Tower, 453 South Spring, Suite 200, renting it for, all told, $36,000 a year. 10 years, will be almost $500,000. Hey, it's only money. Look at your cracked sidewalks. This money should be spent on the sidewalks.
Mr. Hunt? Okay, Mr. Hunt passes. Let's prepare to vote. Members, on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
We'll move to item 6. Mr. Previn, I have you first on 6. Mr. Spindler, Mr. Walsh, and Mr. Hunt.
Yes, it's Eric Previn from CD2. I don't see the council member from the 2nd District today. But this is a motion from the great Krikorian and Mr. Bonin for, believe it or not, they're going to divert about $83,000 from our real property trust fund that has about $860,000 in it at present for it's supposed to be used for sidewalk repair and curb and such. But what we're going to do here for the residents is give it to DOT in the form of an overtime compensation for white glove service. Now, in a building like this, white glove service immediately results in problems because this is a dirty hall. But in Studio City, where we like our traffic smooth and clean, Mr. Krikorian is trying to help. But historically, it is my belief that this does not really help. This is rolled out as a kind of a political trick to make people feel like they're getting good service, when in fact what he's doing is working behind the scenes to create infinitely more confusing parking problems by putting a giant parking structure on a hillside, digging up, putting a bridge over, and as well putting a luxury retail environment on the corner of Coldwater and Ventura Boulevard that, even as I say it out loud, causes me to release the tight cuff on my sphygmomanometer, which is built into my jacket, sir. So what I'm hoping here is that this is dispensed with quickly. Many people who have discussed this, we even wonder if it helps. Many of us have encountered the white glove guys, and to be fair to the DOT guys, they're doing their best. But it is a confusing, what are you supposed to do, invade the traffic lights? I mean, maybe Bonin could discuss it with the new DOT chief, who's a great leader from the Bay Area. I don't know. I am worried about this. I'm mostly worried also about, why is it overtime? Why can't they just be engaged at an ordinary rate? I mean, if they're going to be there in the morning, in the afternoon, why overtime? I mean, people should get overtime if they're working overtime, but is the idea we just don't have enough DOT guys? This is a ridiculous idea, frankly, if I may. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, you're up next.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Jay Walsh, confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is an incredible amount of overtime for a traffic control officer. What do they do? They just sit around. And, I mean, I want you to guess. Here are the three answers. How much, if you haven't seen this up there, how much in overtime? A, $3,000. B, $4,000. C, $83,000. If you guess C, you're right. $83,000. I want everybody to go outside your home and look at that street and how cracked and how ugly and how torn apart your street is, and realize that $83,000 is going into some traffic control officer's pocket rather than repairing your street. For shame.
Mr. Spindler and Mr. Hunt. It looks they pass. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, we'll go to item 10. On item 10, we have Mr. Gus and Mr. Hunt on item 10.
City Attorney, could you please advise if my time has been docked or not? Can I get a ruling, please?
No, you speak on the subject. Go ahead and speak
I
on the
want to find out
subject.
if I
No,
have my time.
now you're off subject. Speak on the subject. Speak on the subject.
All right, I'm going to speak on the subject. It's absolutely corrupt. These things, and I only want 1 minute, please. 1 minute only. This is a corrupt thing that it does not work. It's unfortunate this person was killed. These rewards never work. If you do know the answer to this, do not take this reward. Your life is in danger when you snitch on people in the city of Los Angeles. That's why they have to keep extending these rewards. They extend these rewards because they don't work. The money is taxable. It's not enough to get you out of LA. Don't take it. It's dangerous. It's not good. From the poverty pimps of the LA City Council.
Mr. Hunt.
All right. The Red Chief Hunt. I say vote yes on the rewards. Pay the people. Let's get it over with. If they done a service to the city, let's pay them. The reward is substantial. Get it done and get it done right away. Folks, vote yes on this. The Red Chief Hunt is in charge. Yes!
All right, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Oh, Madam Clerk, can we send forth with item 13? Okay, let's go to item 17. Item 17, I have Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn? Let's get Mr. Previn, Mr. Gus, and Mr. Spindler. Mr. Previn, they tell me you have a minute.
Thank you, sir. You can start the clock when I begin. Thank you. It is Eric Previn from CD2. This is a motion by Mr. Buscaino, who likes to make technical amendments, and Mr. Harris Dawson, who likes to take meetings during fair public hearings. So I want to look closely at it because it is for $30,600,000 in, I believe it's lease revenue bonds. No, it's housing revenue bonds, multifamily housing revenue bonds. So, of course, we're supportive of the basic idea. But the terms of these things benefit the guys who he takes meetings with all over the place. So I just hope that you or the fiduciaries in this hall are paying close attention to this kind of activity. And I would ask that the two items that Mr. Buscaino made a technical amendment to simply be revised and put back on the agenda. Because an RFI is not an RFQ.
On the subject, Mr. Previn, continue.
An RFI is not an RFP.
He is not talking about
Okay,
this
thank
item.
you, Mr. Previn. Your time is expired. Let's get Mr. Gus, followed by Mr. Spindler on item 17.
1 minute only, please. 1 minute only. So what fresh con is this? Because we're talking about $30.6 million for Camino and $30.6 million for Vista. But for Camino, it says not to exceed $30.6 million. And for Vista, it says up to $30.6 million. So what fresh con is this? Every time this city takes out bonds allegedly for housing or for fire stations or for shelters, you always get this wrong. You have a history of dubious tricks like this, where in the same item, it says not to exceed $30.6 million for Camino and up to $30.6 million for Vista. Why not have them in separate agenda items so this isn't going to be another pickpocket by the poverty pimps of the LA City Council?
Thank you. Mr. Spindler.
More housing bullshit. And now you can't add up the numbers. It's really $61.2 million. It's not going to exceed, it's not going to be up to, it's going to be the full amount. Because by the time you pay off the building inspectors and the criminal investigators, you will be up to that maximum amount. $24.4 million is used to build the actual units. Another $22 million is used for payoffs to the building inspectors and the police, and the remainder is used to buy alcoholic beverages for the above-named parties. I think we should vote no, but in a crime-ridden district as 15 is, they need to put more black people in housing. So vote no on this bullshit.
All right, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, let's move on. Item 15, Mr. Gus, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Spindler, and Mr. Carrion.
I see I got my minute back. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the con this time around. It says that it's $50,000 aggregate maximum sum. So if 3 people actually give information to the city, you're only going to get about $16,000. You're not going to get $50,000 for each person that you turn in. So if 5 people do this, you're not going to get any money on this. This is a con. If you're watching and you know this information, this is the con City Council is trying to pull. It's $50,000 for as many people as turn in information. You might, after taxes, get $250 if everybody in the neighborhood rats them out. You're going to endanger people who have information, and you're not even giving them the $50,000 that the poverty pimps usually give. City Council poverty pimps.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org. I can't believe this. John Walsh's America's Most Wanted, LA City, the most wanted 10 top gang members. I've never seen this list anyplace. I've never seen any pictures. I've never seen it at the post office. I've never seen it at the LA Times, although I understand that some of them are quite gorgeous. And I want to, $50,000, I want to know who are the 10 most gang members wanted, the most wanted gang. But you said you can't mention their names, but what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to find out who they are? By using a mental telepathy? I'm going to tell you right now, and I really am shocked at what somebody back here said. You know that the first name of all of the 10 most wanted gang members, their first name is Jose. That is not true. And if it is true, then release the names. I want the names of the 10 most gang wanted. And you little scumbags up here are afraid. You are chicken pluck to mention the names of these most wanted gang members. You don't put their names down here, but you're going to give us 50,000. How the hell can somebody give you give you information when you won't even give them the information on what their names are? You're scared shitless, Mr. Rue. You're scared shitless, Mr. O'Farrell. But I understand some of them are really gorgeous. You'd like to get on your knees in front of them, wouldn't you, Mr. O'Farrell?
Stay on the subject. Stay on the subject. All right, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Spindler, Mr. Carrion.
The Red Chief Hunt. I'm not a Crip. I'm not a Blood. I'm a non-affiliate. But just like the guy just said, if you don't know what they look like and you don't know their name, how are you guys giving rewards? It doesn't make any fucking sense. What you get, the oldest Crip, or you get the oldest Blood, or you get the oldest Hispanic gang member, and you give them all money? Why don't you guys just give them $10,000 a piece to turn in themselves for $5,000, and then you got 10 gang members, and they all have $5,000 on their books. Then you guys won't have to worry about looking for them. But it doesn't make any sense. I bet it's some fucking white people behind this goddamn bullshit.
Mr. Spindler.
Who are these 10 most wanted? Maybe they wear hoods and maybe they don't. I don't know. But why is it an aggregate amount? It should be $500,000 for the total of the 10 instead of a piss-fucking-ant 50,000 total. If you give me $500,000, I'll have them to you by the day after the holiday weekend. Of course 500,000 would do it. But I think in the LA City area, I think the top 10 gang members are good for the community, and I support their freedom. Gang members create jobs. Gang members pay higher than the minimum wage. And gang members buy and use products and services and pay taxes. Yes to the gang members, let them free. Fuck you.
Mr. Carrion.
You're asking for money to turn in gang members. 10 top most wanted. I think 2 of them are sitting here, Mr. Weezer, Mr. Englander.
Stay on the subject. Michael, stay on the subject.
Okay. Well, that's my opinion, okay? And the bad part is that, like gentlemen are saying, there's no names, there's no pictures. What is this? Just a feel-good thing? To waste taxpayers' money to bring it up here and go over it over and over and over again? Okay? Have some courage. You put on a badge, put their names out there. We caught one of the most 10 wanted. That was the sheriff. He's going to prison. He should have been on the list. But the thing that I'm upset is that, this dog and pony show goes on and on every day. People come here and have to hear it. Some of you guys aren't even sitting here. We wonder where you're at.
Stay on the subject, Michael.
Well, I am, because they weren't here to hear some of the stuff that were going on.
No, but we're on this item. You know what I'm talking
Thank
about.
you. Anyways, 10 most wanted. It's a joke. It's something that's put up here by city council members to make themselves feel good. Thank you.
And just so you know, on the motion, there's a listing of the members, that the rewards, the 10 most wanted. But I'll go to Mr. Rue. Oh, wait, do we have one more card? No, Mr. Rue? I mean, if you look on it, the names are right in front of you. Let's go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. My office has been working with LAPD as well as the chair, Councilman Englander, chair of the Public Safety on this motion. I'm proud of this motion, and the names are listed on the motion for public record, and it will be public. Thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's go to item 1. Mr. Wizar.
Can I take this moment to do a special introduction to
Go
some
right ahead.
guests that we have? And I wanted to introduce to this council and to Los Angeles some visitors that we have. We have Mawad Dawodia, the communication director of Maison de la Artisan, and Mohamed Benai Diba, a design architect at Maison de la Artisan, and Adel El Hardouzi, the president of Moroccan community in California. Welcome to, if you could stand up and be acknowledged. By
Welcome.
Welcome to the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you for visiting us.
And we appreciate the cultural exchanges we're having and the interest in continuing to work together to support our Moroccan community here in the United States. Thank you so much, and welcome.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to item 1. Linda, Mr. Englander.
R be continued for 30 days. 1R, if we can continue that for 30 days. So
okay, so that
the department can work with you and we can figure out
we'll
what we need to do.
continue that to March 15th. And so, Ms. Romney, that item has been continued for 30 days.
May I speak
But
first?
you can, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did submit a card.
Yeah, I have it.
In advance, and I was told by the Building and Safety Senior Inspector Christia that it would be continued. However, sir, I'd like you to know that the agenda item, there's a violation of the Browns Act versus the notice I received. Specifically in that, there is no Exhibit C, and I was just informed today by the Building and Safety Senior Inspector Christia that this also involves another order to comply. Sir, I have in writing, at least on 14 different occasions, requested an appeal. Everything that I have requested, a 22-page documents, including my declaration under penalty of perjury, to the Building and Safety Department remain unanswered. I was cited, your councilperson, for having my front lawn over 4 inches tall. There is no municipal code ordinance that considers a lawn over 4 inches tall to be excess vegetation. This is clearly a violation of the Browns Act, Government Code Section 54950-54963. And the fact of the matter that they are not responding and continue to not respond in my written requests is an abuse of process. And, sir, all of these councilmen need to be aware of the fact that the Building and Safety is putting outrageous liens of over $4,000 on your residents' property without giving the individuals an opportunity for an appeal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Koretz.
We'd like to have this continued for 2 weeks, so we
Well,
have a chance to.
it's my understanding that that item was 1R, and that's been continued for 30 days.
Okay, that's
continued till March 15th. Okay, so the next one, do we have Louis Giovanni? Please, or sir, please come forward.
And, Mr. President, as the speaker comes forward, there are requests to continue additional items, and those items are 1D, 1F, 1H, and 1J for 2 weeks to February 26th.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. Yes, sir.
Well, good morning to the council members. Prior to March 1st, 2011, I've got a judgment against my homeowners association, and it created bad blood between the president and manager. And they contacted the Building and Safety Department with an allegation that water was leaking from my bathroom. And they obtained illegally a videotape of me in my bathroom in my private apartment. And I have the information from the notes of the inspector investigating Mr. I think it's Mr. Sidwell, and stating that he saw the video, and then he asked to go into my apartment and went to the bathroom, and he found no leak whatsoever. And he had another inspector with him, and he instructed me to bring a gallon of water to show that the leak was coming from my apartment by pouring it on the floor. And this doesn't tell you where the origin of the leak came from. And if they just investigated back of my toilet, there was a leak in the common area, and I have a photograph of it coming down the wall, about 9 feet coming from the floor above me. And in any event, I pulled out the toilet I have in there. It was a Royal flush valve. It's the same toilet you use here in the chambers, and capped the water line to the toilet and replaced it with a gravitational flushing toilet, which is a less efficient toilet than the one I had in there. And there's a little opening in the wall where I had a pressure tank for my Royal flush valve, and I sealed that. And I didn't realize that I guess I needed a permit to do that. Any event.
Okay, thank you. We'll see what happens in a moment, but I want to call on Mr. Rue. Mr. Koretz, can we remove you? Okay, Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Giovanni, for coming down. My office has been working with Mr. Giovanni. I have a quick question for building and safety. It's my understanding that this has been corrected. Is that can you confirm that?
This problem has not yet been corrected.
Has not yet been corrected. If that's the case, how long will it take for you guys to inspect the property, or have you already inspected?
We have not inspected the property yet, not code enforcement. This is two different entities. We have an inspection that was created or completed by the Inspection Bureau. Code enforcement has not yet been out. It would take us less than 1 week to actually verify the correction.
Less than 1 week. Okay, then can we continue this item for another 2 weeks so we could get that inspected? And Mr. Giovanni will be in constant contact with you. And once it's in compliance, I will be willing to ask the council to waive the fees and all the late fees charges. So we'll be working with you on that, Mr. Giovanni.
Okay, that'll be continued to February 26th. Okay, now if I could have Michael Carrion and Mr. Spindler come forward.
And for the record, Mr. President, that was 1AC that's been continued for 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, we're talking about all these. You hear these people coming up, not only myself, about these properties that are in lien that shouldn't be in lien because nobody's there doing their job inspecting them. They're not being inspected, but you guys sit here, take their words for it, and pass these liens on to the public. If you guys think it's just me and the other people who come here often, listen to the homeowners that come here. They're telling you they fixed this. 4 inches for your lawn being too high? Jesus Christ, they ought to give Englander a fine for his hair being too crooked. I mean, how do you guys come to these fines? Is the city that hard up and desperate for money? If this were Porter Ranch, it wouldn't be happening.
Stay on the subject.
Well, I am on the subject. You're finding people that are out of Porter Ranch because a council member from that district is not paying attention to the people that are there in his district because he's too busy worrying about getting reelected.
Stay on the item here.
Once again, the item goes to the city council holding the people of Los Angeles hostage for property taxes, for bogus complaints by engineers that don't go out, don't look at the property, don't see it, and probably not wrong with it. We went through this when you sent my mother-in-law, said her lawn was not right, and her lawn was manicured by me personally. Oh, we send those notices out to everybody. It's a scam, and nobody here has the courage to stand up for it. Every council member here is having their own conversations or in la-la land except Mr. Koretz. Mr. Dawson, I don't know if you're asleep or not, but I know you're listening.
Stay on the subject, Michael.
Okay. So anyways, that's the reason why we're where we're at. Just letting the taxpayers know this is a scam. Thank you.
Mr. Spindler. Mr. Spindler has 1 minute.
We must give in the name of the Chinese New Year
Stay on the subject.
the goodness and the heart of our Asian city councilman has taken another step forward. David has taken the step to help another homeowner out of a lien problem. And Mr. Price did it yesterday. But now we need more of this cooperation between those who are hooded and those who are not. So please help these other people who are so numerous on this list. I can't mention them all. Especially in CD8. We have so many liens in CD8, mostly those of the black persuasion. And we must get them some help because these liens are absolutely fucking outrageous. Fuck you, council.
Thank
Vote
you.
no.
Your time's expired. Thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Madam Clerk, that brings us where?
Mr. President, I believe there's a request to send item 17 forthwith,
Oh, yes, it is. So without objection, that'll be the order.
and that takes council to general public comment.
Okay, Miss Richardson, Jacqueline, I see you in the back, followed by Miss Romney. Please come forward.
I would like to you to answer some questions now about LAPD. Would start in LAPD. How many Russian people are there in LAPD in total? The whole department. How many blacks are from that country? How many whites are from that country? How many Hispanics are from that country? How many Asians are from that country and in that department? And the final question is, how many Americans are there in the whole department? That is all.
Thank you, ma'am. So Miss Romney, you're next, followed by Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Spindler. Please come forward.
Thank you, and I will be brief. Regarding the liens that they are putting on properties for these alleged building and safety violations, when we get our notice, the notice specifically informs the individual that you are to file any opposition at least 10 days before the hearing. Yet I would like you all to know that despite the fact that you do a timely filing of an opposition, those opposition papers are not known to the building and safety inspector that addresses us at this time. Therefore, it seems illogical that you are expecting the individuals who receive these notices to respond in a timely manner. They do so, and yet their opposition is not considered.
Thank you. Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Spindler, followed by Mr. Gus, followed by Mr. Carrion.
Greetings, it's Eric Previn from the 2nd District, sir. And I have a teeny bit of bad news, which is that after extended conversations about re-agendizing item 65 from December 16th, 2015, which was the Sportsman's Landing project that my colleagues over at CD2 are very familiar with, the failure to put it on the agenda properly has resulted in another lawsuit being filed, regrettably by me, Eric Previn, against the City of Los Angeles. I'm not asking for any money. I'm just asking for a corrective action, sir. It's called injunctive relief. Mr. O'Connell made a call that was a mistake. It's okay. He should not be arrested or anything. He should simply correct it. And so the case number is B as in boy, S as in Sam. That's BS, sir. 160588. I feel very badly about this because one of my credos is I'm not going to sue you. But then when you push me out onto the plank, sir, you can see my Coastal Commission piece about what happens there. So I ask you to do the right thing, settle it up, put it on the agenda, move forward.
Thank you.
And Mr. Krikorian should
Mr.
not...
Mr. Spindler, followed by Mr. Gus. You're disrupting the meeting, Mr. Previn. So if I could have Mr. Spindler, Mr. Gus, Mr. Carrion, please come forward.
Last night I attended the executive committee of the Encino Neighborhood Council, and Todd David Rubenstein, the president, has decided to tell us if you get in his face, he will escalate the issue. And now he's mad because the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment is not cashing his fucking checks. And he said if this isn't stopped by Dunn, Mr. Koretz will issue a motion to go over the head of Dunn and make them comply with proper accounting standards. Yes, the hood supports this. Yes, me and Todd David Rubenstein are fucking tired of the way this city runs. We are escalating this shit. We are tired of the corruption. Yes, those with the hood, those without the hoods are uniting together to stop this cocksucker council from fucking us all in the ass.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Gus, Mr. Carrion, Mr. Walsh, and Mr. Hunt, you're after that.
Okay, so 3 weeks ago, you refused to say you're sorry for illegally losing my speaker cards. All Herb had to do was say, I'm sorry. All Duarte had to do was say, I'm sorry, and it would have been over. So instead, let's look at the humane laws that City Council President Herb Wesson is violating, because the laws in LA apply to all of us. But I can show you that in 2014, Herb didn't pay his dog license for his dog, Waldo. In 2014, Mr. Wesson paid for the dog license for 2012 and 2013 for Cricket. You're not above the law, Mr. Wesson. You didn't pay your dog license for Charlie for 3 years. Who the hell are you? If we live by the laws, you live by the laws. And that's not all, Mr. Wesson. We're all allowed to have 3 dogs. And how many does Mr. Wesson have? You've got 4. You put it on this fucking announcement for the city from a city agency with your 4 dogs. You aren't above the law with these 4
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mr. Gus, Mr. Carrion, Mr. Walsh, then Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. It's been 5 weeks already, and the hillside at Soto Slope has still not been under construction. It's just been cleaned up. So my question is, where is Mr. Weezer and what is he doing? Is he in the back room with his boyfriend? I'm fed up. I'm tired. If Mr. Weezer thinks I'm going away, and if his little girl here with her little smirk on her face thinks that she's going to scare me, she doesn't. She doesn't know the difference between a cleanup and construction. So maybe she should go back to school. Okay, because I'm tired of being BS'd around over and over by Mr. Weezer's office. So maybe he ought to get out of somebody else's bed, get into his office, start doing his work. I'm going to start looking into Mr. Weezer's sexual activities. And I'm going to be here to announce them all the time, with the little girls in his office and with the little boys in his office. And I am not going to go away until he gets this wall done. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh at HollywoodHighlands.org. The names of the top 10 most wanted was not in the agenda. I found them for everybody. They're at the official site of the LAPD, and I want to tell you, how many do you think are black? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 0. All of the 10 most wanted criminals, gangsters, are Hispanic. I think, what does that mean? It means that the LAPD considers the Hispanic gangs much, much more dangerous to their neighborhoods than the black gangs are to their neighborhoods. I mean, it's right there. Take a look at them. But they are politically correct. One of the 10 most wanted gang members is a woman, an Hispanic woman. I just want you to know why they won't print their names. Why? Because it's politically incorrect.
Mr. Hunt.
This is the Red Chiefs national anthem for the LA Police Commission when they killed the boy in Venice Beach, when they killed Africa This is the new national anthem for Black Lives Matter.
No, we don't. We have no devices, Mr. Hunt. If you want to continue, turn it off. Okay, this time's expired. Thank you. All right, that concludes general public comment. That brings us where, Madam Clerk? No, I already told you I'm not going to get in a debate. Anyway, let's move. He's disrupting the meeting. Mr. Hunt, sit down or you can leave. You can sit down or leave. That brings us where, Madam Clerk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and refer. Take him out. He's disrupting the meeting. Take him outside. He wants you to take him outside. So please go on, take him outside. Okay, that brings us to announcements. Any announcements, members? Announcements? Okay, Mr. City Attorney, for the record, he's still disrupting the meeting. Could all rise for adjourning motions? All rise for adjourning motion. Okay, I'll be looking to my right side. Mr. Kretz, that's your side. Don't see any adjourning motions there. I'm now looking towards my left side. Mr. Harris Dawson, don't see any there. Members, this meeting is adjourned.